We all have a very special, unique story in our own creativity. And there's so many ways that we can differentiate and stand out amongst the crowd beyond just our technical capabilities. So let's lean into that. Let's figure out some ways that we can leverage the power of our own uniqueness. My name is Ryan Cow. I'm a freelance video editor and cinematographer based here in Los Angeles. You guys may have seen some of my work on YouTube, where I have a channel talking all about my journey as a freelancer in the video industry. You may have also seen some of my stuff on Instagram, where I'm regularly posting work that I do for companies like Nike, Adidas. And as of more recently, I've been tapping into the narrative space, doing some short films and even some feature-length documentary work. I think that there's a lot of people who are overlooking so many ways that they can market themselves as an editor and leveraging these powerful tools that we have available to us. If we strategize a bit of what we share online, we can become pretty successful in the freelance industry. In today's class, I want to take you through marketing yourself as a video editor, how we can better optimize our online presence to act more like a digital business card, making our Instagram profile and YouTube channel something that can actually help us get clients, and also how to go about expanding your portfolio to bring in that new work. What I hope everyone is able to walk away with after going through this class is a strategy and a sense of confidence about your brand and your online presence that can work kind of regardless of where you're at in your career or current skill level. I'm incredibly excited to share this class with everyone today, so let's dive into it. Nowadays in the video industry, people want to work with good people. I mean, let's face it, there's so much incredible talent out there, so many people who are so amazing at what they do. But at the end of the day, sometimes the best work doesn't always come from having the best skill set or technical experience. In my experience as a freelancer, some of the biggest projects and the best paying work come from the strongest client to contractor relationships and a carefully strategized brand image on behalf of yourself. It may seem a little irrelevant to some folks having a tailored or up-to-date Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube channel. Like, at the end of the day, all that matters is your website and your portfolio, right? However, with social media, although it's a bit overwhelming at some times, it's one of the quickest and simplest ways for a client to get a quick 20-second glimpse into who we are and what we do. So with that in mind, how can we strategize our online presence to better act as a digital business card? Think about it like this. Your digital business card is kind of, in a way, anything that is online with your name on it. Whether we like it or not, you're gonna come across those projects and those clients who want to know everything that you've done and that you've worked on. So they get on Google, they search your name, anything that they can find that has your name on it, kind of in a way is your digital business card, the thing that people will associate with your name. We're in an era where, traditionally speaking, a website used to be the place that your work would live, but with social media growing so rapidly and providing such great opportunities for freelance video editors to find new clientele and reach new customers, it's important that we should consider these a part of our digital business card, just like a website would be. Instagram is an amazing place to share that you're a video editor. The organic reach and discoverability of this platform is truly unmatched in the current market. YouTube is also another very powerful platform. I mean, it kind of is like literally the video Google for many people. So sharing your work on there can also act as a great way for clients and new potential collaborators to discover your work. Of course, a website is very important as well, and I absolutely think it's something people should all consider and strive to have at one point. But at a minimum, I would prioritize making sure that your digital business card, things that people can search, your social media, is up to date and current with what you are doing as a video editor. So now that we've kind of established a bit about the importance of a digital business card and what it is and how it can apply to you and how clients can find you, let's dive into some more specifics on optimizing your Instagram for your digital business card. So here is my Instagram account. And how I choose to treat my Instagram and the things that I share is kind of a balance between my personal life, some of the things that I'm doing, but also some of my work and kind of a little bit here and there in between. I like sharing BTS from projects that I'm actively working on or shooting, sometimes posting some cinematic color grading frames from some things that I've shot or color graded in post-production. Occasionally, I'm posting some reels that are kind of on trend with some of the things in the video creation industry. But at the root of everything here, my goal is to just create a fairly curated looking page that shows that I have a certain level of quality and aesthetic with the imagery that I choose to show, whether or not it's video or it's a still image. Again, clients that are potentially looking or searching for your profile are gonna pull up your page and they'll probably look at the first 9 or maybe 12 of your posts. They might not go super into depth, but having a profile that looks curated at a glance and shows that you're working on a diverse amount of things is a really important thing to consider. So at the top of our page is probably the most important factor, and it's kind of your page information, the high level visibility of the information on your page. Things like your profile picture, your name that you choose as your username, and just the bio information of who you are and what you're doing are all things that people will look at a glance. I think personally, you should always avoid a username that has underscores or numbers or nicknames included. Keep it pretty close to your authentic name. A clean profile picture, something that clearly shows your face, that's not a selfie, ideally a professional photo of yourself, is always a great thing to have. And then just clear information in your bio. Here we can see I have a business branded page and I'm listed as a cinematographer. The description says DP, or Director of Photography / Editor. I'm based in Los Angeles. I also have a link to my secondary Instagram account in case people are curious. And then I have a URL to my YouTube channel, which we'll also be talking about up next. Highlight stories, I think, are also a really interesting tool that you can utilize. And these can kind of be anything. They're kind of like curated little bubbles that you can use and place archive stories into individually. So I have one here that has some BTS clips from different stuff that I've done in my career. This one 241 weeks ago. Might want to go through and kind of clean that up, make it a little more current and up to date. But it's just a couple of stories from some past interesting things, some funny moments here and there. I think adding a little bit of diversity and some touch to these stories is a good thing. People like to know that you're a fun person to work with. I've also got another highlight here for some of my work. This is usually stuff that I've reposted or shared on a story, or I reposted from a client page. This one was for Adidas NYC. Here's another one for Adidas LA. Here's a story from a project I did with Slam and Crocs. I think at the minimum, having a highlight bubble at the top that clearly shows some of your work that clients can immediately click on and just tap through and see some of the finished projects you've worked on is a really good place to start. We've got a couple more here, and I definitely don't think you need to overcomplicate it, but at the minimum, having at least one that maybe kind of clearly has a collection of some of your finished projects that clients can tap on and quickly scan through is a great place to start. I think we can all relate when I say that Instagram has gone through a lot of different phases in its trends and styles that people are posting and sharing content. I find, to me, nowadays what creates a very attractive and engaging looking freelancer profile is one that isn't always super polished work. I talked about it earlier, but I think what you'll come to find as you begin freelancing is that clients, they like working with good people. They like to be able to have fun and make sure that even when a project gets stressful, you can work with somebody who will maintain a positive attitude and be enjoyable to work with on a daily or consistent basis. Sharing a balance of some of your finished projects, but also some stuff that's maybe just a little more for fun or personal related to give people a sense of who you are, what your character's like, is definitely a benefit to adding to your digital business card. I get it. Some people might not want to share the personal stuff, and that's totally fine. By all means, you can keep your Instagram page just strictly about your work. There's really nothing wrong to that. But if you're feeling like you might be up for it, dropping a few things here and there that kind of give people a little bit more of a sense of, this is me, this is Ryan. It's just one way that you can kind of differentiate yourself as an editor. A big piece of advice that I have relative to maintaining a social media presence, especially on Instagram, is showing what you do on a regular basis. Staying active and posting frequently is definitely tough, but I think stories have become a really powerful tool for you to stay relevant in people's heads. I feel like I can't be the only one who has this kind of weird assumption in my head that, the people who are following me, like, they know that I'm an editor and a cinematographer. So it's not like I need to keep them up to date with every single thing that I'm doing. Like, they probably know that I'm working on a project. The simple fact of the matter here, though, is that everybody's busy all the time. And to be honest, it's pretty easy for you to slip out of people's kind of network and their general go-to train of thought when thinking of maybe hiring a new editor for a project if you're not actively posting things. There's been plenty of times that I've thought like, I need to hire an editor that can help me out with this YouTube video. And there's been times where I've completely overlooked some people's names who would have been a great fit for the job just simply because I hadn't seen them post something in a few weeks. Staying relevant and posting on a regular basis and showing what you do, it might seem like you're annoying people to always be showing that you're editing or working on a project or shooting something, but this can just simply help you to stay more relevant as a freelancer in the market. Figuring out what to post and what to share, it's a challenge. Like, I know we get all intimidated when you finally work on a project and you're like, is this the one that I should post on Instagram? Maybe it didn't turn out quite the way you wanted. Maybe the end result wasn't quite what you had hoped for the client project. It was a great name, but just something about the song that they chose wasn't exactly the greatest. Posting your work, no matter how big or small, whether it's a paid project or a personal project, the beauty is that this isn't your dedicated portfolio. It is an outlet that we can share just about as much as we want. I think there's a fine balance here, and I'll kind of just caution this in saying, certainly don't post anything that you don't think lives up to your standards of quality and character as a video editor, but don't be afraid to post the small experiments. Maybe there's a trend or a new reel that's going around about editing or color grading, using a popular song. Don't be afraid to give those a try. I think you might be surprised at just how much fun it can be to practice those things and get out there and post some fresh content. Another huge benefit to all of this, kind of beyond just your digital business card, is that staying at least somewhat up to date with the trends that are existing on the platform for Instagram. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of work that you've probably done or you will probably end up doing that clients want to end up living on Instagram. So being familiar with the landscape, seeing the ads that are coming across on your stories, seeing what other types of editors are posting, what sorts of trends and reels and styles are circulating around is just one way that you can help to utilize that information and inform a client when they reach out to you about a new project. So for example, there's been a lot of trends going around about the behind the scenes of how somebody got the shot. I was working on a short film recently and we needed to shoot a shower scene. So I decided to edit together a quick little reel showing behind the scenes of how we accomplished this shot.
Here's how I filmed this shot. Since I couldn't fit a softbox in the shower, I used the Nanolite Forza 60B with the spotlight attachment to help shape the light and fire straight into the white ceiling. To control the spill from the walls, I gaff taped a black tube dress to the ceiling. This helps make the overhead light source feel much more directional and dramatic, and this is the final shot.
It's quick, it's simple. I think this edit took only like 30 or 45 minutes, just slapping together some cool subtitles on the screen using a trending sound that's going around. And this reel has done almost 7,000 likes. Pretty substantial for what my page normally does. When you do get a chance to share one of the client projects that you worked on, one way that we can help ourselves to look the part as an editor is in the caption, crediting yourself and also the crew behind the project properly. When clients are looking at your page and come across a finished piece of work, but the caption associated with it is just something random or maybe a bunch of emojis, it definitely removes some of the professionalism in how that piece presents itself. Taking some time to thoroughly outline and credit everybody who was involved with the project in their proper names. Usually you can find this by maybe sending an email to the person you worked with or your point of contact for the project, people like the director, the producer, the DP, the camera assistants, the lighting, and yourself, of course, being the video editor. So this project in particular, it's a director's cut from a project I shot for a athletic wear company called Omorpho. I've credited the client, agency, creative director, producer, myself, the director of photography, sound, editor, which was myself and also another one of my collaborators, but just doing this in a way that thoroughly outlines your involvement in relationship to the project. It'll help clients to feel more confident that you are working and collaborating with other people in your process. Beyond posting and all of the content, it's just a good practice to be interacting with other people on social media. I mean, look, it's called social media, right? Developing strong creative circles and a network of people you look up to, follow, stay up to date with what they're doing, what they're sharing. It goes such a long way to be a friendly face and be interacting and engaging with other people, staying relevant in those communities like we had touched on before, to keep yourself in the loop with what's going on. You never know, like sometimes you might find that there's a job opportunity through an Instagram story with somebody that you're close with in the industry. Send them a message, interact with them, ask them, hey, like, is that filled? Could I maybe jump on that? I think nowadays potential brands and clients are also being more active on social media. So just being in the loop and staying up to date and engaging with other people on the platform, it'll just help you to grow that stronger creative circle and better refine your digital business card. We've gone over a lot of ways that we can optimize our Instagram, but if I want to leave you with one thing here, one real high-level thought to consider is if you are posting and sharing things about yourself and your work, be authentic. Don't try and put on some sort of character or persona that isn't authentic to who you are and what type of work you're aiming to bring in. At the end of the day, people want to work with good people, and I like to believe most people are good people. So show that and give people confidence that, hey, if I find Ryan and I want to hire him for an edit, I like his work, I like the way that he presents himself online, let's reach out to him. So now that we've talked through everything and we understand a little bit about kind of optimizing our presence and how to share things on Instagram as a freelancer, maybe take a moment to perform a little self-audit on your Instagram profile. Look over some of these steps that we've outlined and maybe pick 3 that you could use as your next actions to refining your Instagram presence. We've now made it through one platform that we can optimize for our digital business card, our Instagram profile. Let's move on to our next platform, which is YouTube. Long form video and YouTube is kind of slowly taking on a new shape in the filmmaking and video production world. It seems to me like people are kind of starting to lose a little bit of interest in seeing the perfectly polished, flashy videos and edits, and are more curious about knowing and understanding how a video was made. Behind the scenes content is offering a new perspective into the video production industry that just really has never existed before. Professionals of just about every type in the video industry are kind of beginning to make their way onto YouTube and sharing content, whether it's behind the scenes of a video production, a breakdown of editing or sound design, or even just sharing some of that finished work itself. Beyond the opportunity of gaining a new audience with the videos that you might share, and even potentially generating some extra side income, it gives you another outlet to share just a little bit more of your work ethic and your personal character. In a way, your YouTube channel could almost be like an insider's look from a client perspective as to what it would be like to work with you. Just like we cleaned up some of our page information on our Instagram profile, we can do the same for our YouTube channel. Your name, the username, how people are actually going to search you, I think, again, an important rule to follow is keep it pretty similar to the name that you would be referred to professionally. First and last name, usually you can never go wrong. In my bio, I have cinematographer and editor based in Los Angeles. Again, just a few ways that I can identify myself, let people know where I am. We've got some links to my other social media accounts, and of course, a clean profile picture and a channel banner. This can kind of be like a big digital billboard for your brand. I actually haven't updated this particular banner since, I don't know, maybe like 2019. I think I'm due for my own little YouTube channel audit here soon. But again, just making sure that all of the branding, your profile image, and all of the information is consistent with how you want to be referred to and viewed as a freelancer. Once we scroll down, we have a couple of really unique opportunities for sharing our content. If somebody's clicking on your YouTube channel for the first time, you can select this top video that's presented to them. Here for the featured video, I would probably suggest to maybe post your most popular or most viewed video, or if you're strictly just sharing your work on your YouTube channel and you're not really posting content that's specific to YouTube things, then maybe make it your reel. The beauty of the YouTube channel customization is that you can place videos in a specific order. So if you have a bunch of work that you want to show, you can put that playlist near the top. If you want to sort by your most popular videos, you can also do that. So now that we've broken down how to set up your YouTube channel, the next step, go out and create some content and post it. If you want to be creating things that are on trend with certain filmmaking topics, being a regular consumer of that type of content is a great way to spark some new ideas. Or just post your work. Use it as a way to kind of share a portfolio of some of your projects that you're doing as a video editor. Maybe try your hand at sharing some breakdowns behind your editing process, maybe even some tutorials if you come up with a unique way to do something. A great thing to think about here is that if you're trying to share content on a variety of these different platforms, oftentimes, YouTube videos can end up making their way onto Instagram, or even vice versa. Let's say maybe you did a reel for a current trend on Instagram, and some people were curious how you made that edit. Use that as an idea to fuel a YouTube video, breaking down that editing process. It can kind of be an endless cycle, and beyond that, you can use it to just share your work as a freelancer. The unique perspective about creating content on YouTube, long form videos, is that unlike other social media platforms where most people's attention spans are inherently pretty short, they're tapping through a ton of stories, they're scrolling on the feed, you have a bigger opportunity, more time that you can potentially engage and kind of interact or call to action some of the people who are watching your videos. So you can tell them, hey, I'm looking for this type of work, or hey, I'm working on this. Or if you're interested in seeing more of my content, or you have some suggestions, leave a comment below. These seem kind of obvious to some, but it is a pretty powerful tool of creating YouTube content. Another really important thing that we have available to us when we're creating these videos is the analytics and the algorithm. I get that those two terms can be an extremely intimidating part about creating a YouTube channel, especially if you've never done it before. Like, the numbers are intimidating just in the same way that it is with posting on any other platform. But there's so much amazing data that YouTube offers on the back end that can help you to get some insight about your audience, the type of people that are consuming your videos. There's even ways that we can see what types of videos people who are watching ours are watching from other creators. So this is like the main dashboard here. This is kind of just like a high level look at everything. You see like a little bit of analytics, but it's also, you see like recent comments, things like that. But then here's like our direct kind of analytics dashboard, where we're gonna see like a variety of different things, from views to kind of some of our subscriber and audience trends, monetization. We're seeing a real-time look at our views. But if we dive in a little bit deeper into some of these audience metrics, we can see some really specific data. We can see like when people are watching our videos, what other content your audience is watching, like literal videos that people who are clicking on my video are also watching here on YouTube. We can see geographics, we can see the age range, what type of language people are watching in subtitles. Some of this stuff might seem pretty broad, and certainly if you're starting a channel from scratch, it's gonna take some time to build up these metrics. This data is still super useful to you if you're trying to be an editor, especially in the remote industry. Understanding where your content is reaching is an incredibly valuable resource to tailoring some of your services and the content that you choose to put out in freelance video editing. So maybe take some time to think about how you could get a YouTube channel going, or maybe even beef up one that you've had existing in the past. It's kind of an intimidating platform, but the reality is here, you have a unique story, and your perspective as a video editor, I'm sure, would resonate with a lot more people than you would really expect. It's kind of how my channel started in this whole filmmaking genre. I was just interested in doing kind of some of my own little vlogs, kind of recaps of some of my projects that I was doing in the early days of being a freelance photographer. And lo and behold, the evolution of just posting YouTube content led me into video and filmmaking, and now to the point that I'm here getting to teach you guys about being a freelance video editor. You never really know what can happen out of it. So if it's something that you feel passionate about trying, give it a shot. Okay, now that we've talked a bit about expanding a couple of our social platforms and our YouTube channel, let's talk about expanding our portfolio as a video editor. In today's market of video editing, it's not as easy as just saying you can do the job. As a video editor, clients want to be able to see direct references for the work that they're potentially going to hire you for. The hard truth is that no one from a reputable brand or a big production company is going to reach out to you if you've never created anything like what they're looking for. When it comes down to it, time is money. And a client needs to be able to determine at a quick glance if you're someone who's capable of delivering what they need for their project. So if we're thinking about how we can expand our portfolio, let's talk about spec work. What is it? How do we go about creating it? And what's the point of it to us as a freelance editor? Think of it like a way to work for your dream client without ever working for your dream client. Spec work is essentially a project created solely for the intention of attracting a new client or a new type of work. So what's the catch then, right? Well, it's generally done on your own time and your own budget. Okay, but why would anyone want to use their own money to create work for a brand? Think about it this way. Let's say one day, one of your big professional goalposts is to land a gig editing a commercial for Nike. Well, the first thing I would ask you is, that's amazing. Do you think you can do it? And I think most people's response would probably be, yeah, of course, like I'm determined, I'm driven. My next question though would be, have you ever created something for Nike? Or have you ever done a similar type of work for a similar brand? If the answer is no, well, this is exactly why spec work can be a secret weapon for freelance editors looking to break into the industry. So let's break down a few steps on how we can create spec work as video editors. Our first step here would be to find an ideal client or brand that you want to create something for. If it's your portfolio and what you're hoping to do is bring in a certain type of work, make sure to be conscious of the fact that if you're creating a spec piece, it's actually a project you want to work on. I know some of us might get a little excited and think, yeah, I remember I worked on a piece that was a product commercial, maybe it was some studio footage. I could probably re-edit that. Well, that's great. But is that a type of work that you're interested in getting hired for again? I think we should prioritize spec work in our portfolio being our ideal or dream clients. I mean, remember, what you show is what you get. Spec work as video editors can sometimes be a little bit more challenging. I mean, hey, we're the ones who are behind the computer, so it's not like we have full creative ability to go out and create a whole commercial. But, maybe you have some existing footage from a project that you could utilize and repurpose. Or maybe you're somebody who does shoot something, or you have a close circle of people that also shoot video. Maybe consider reaching out and bringing them into the fold and seeing if they're interested in joining you and creating some spec work that could live for everybody's portfolio. Okay, so once you've chosen a brand or a project to work on for this spec piece, do a deep dive into that brand's content. Check out their social media pages, check out their website, see what types of content that they're putting out and that they're showing. Are they leaning into short form social media content? Are they doing longer form branded work? Are they trying to tell more of a narrative? Is it shorter things with a little bit more trend associated with it? Take note of everything you see here and utilize your own experience and your own perspectives of these platforms to help generate and fuel some ideas that could align with the brand's current marketing direction. Think big and small. In the current market, with everything going on in the video industry, social media content and staying up to date with these current trends is something that every brand is considering and trying to figure out how to do just a bit better. So get outside of the box here and flex your understanding of the video industry. Okay, next, consider your resources. Here's a few points that I like to think about when I begin the process of coming up with a new spec idea. First and most important, how much time do you have to put into this? Do you have a week or do you have a month? Maybe you only have a day to actually try and come up and push out a new idea for this little project. How much money do you have to put into this? Do you only have $100? Maybe you don't have any, or maybe you're really passionate about the idea and want to invest a little bit. So maybe it might be worth considering hiring some people into the project to help you, maybe a director or a video shooter, to really create the best quality piece. In some cases, you could potentially utilize footage from a previous project, and you really might not need to invest anything. Maybe there was a client project or even a personal project that you shot, you edited the footage, and it's been sitting on hard drives just kind of collecting dust for some time. There's no reason why that content can't see a new light in a new edit and potentially edited for a different overall purpose. Of course, if it was a past client project, I would certainly caution you to make sure that if you want to post it in your portfolio, to reach out to them and ask for permission before moving forward. So to give you guys a real world example here, this was a project that I shot and edited for a company called Omorpho. They make athletic weighted sportswear. And back when I originally shot this, well over a year ago, I wasn't honestly all that happy with the final deliverables that went out on behalf of the brand. So I decided to do kind of my own spec version. It would refer to this as a director's cut, and take all of that original footage, work with a new editor, come up with an entirely new creative brief and treatment, and really bring this footage to life that kind of meets my current standards as an editor and a cinematographer. This really didn't cost me anything extra, but it's one way that we can kind of continue to grow our body of work and make sure that we're presenting the best type of content for our potential clients. But now that we have an idea and we have a plan for how to approach this edit, get editing. The beauty of spec work is that you essentially have full creative control. We talked a bit about finding new inspiration and experimenting to help evolve your style. So don't hold back here. Utilize all of those tools. Try those new ideas, those things that were a little bit interesting or maybe intimidating for you to experiment with. It's not a client project per se, but it kind of is. So leverage that and do something different. Try and do something that's going to get you out of your comfort zone. And maybe in that process, you may even discover a newfound sense of confidence or editing style or workflow altogether. So once you've completed your spec piece, it's time to share your work. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to go out like it's some grand commercial. Maybe it's just a piece that you add to your portfolio or upload to your YouTube channel, but there is the opportunity to potentially share it with a brand. So if you decide to share it on social media, maybe tag them or send them a message talking about the work. You never know. If it sparks a good conversation, there could be an opportunity to discuss doing something paid for them in the future. So now we've found ways to expand our portfolio. As a next step for you guys, maybe come up with 3 ideal clients or brands that you would love to work with or create a spec piece for. In the workbook, I'm gonna leave you guys with a few prompts to maybe kind of get your brains turning. And if you've created a spec piece in the past as a shooter or as a video editor, I'd love for you guys to share them in the project gallery. I like checking out what people are doing and kind of pushing their narratives as creatives. So share yours or maybe share your ideal clients. I think we'd all love to see them. Marketing ourselves as video editors is definitely a bit of a challenging thing, but I hope that some of what we've talked about today, optimizing your digital business card, your social media outlets like Instagram and YouTube, and also how to kind of go about expanding that portfolio and really attracting new clients through the work that you're showing to the world. Hopefully this can give you guys a little bit more confidence about marketing yourself amongst the crowd and how to stand out and attract more people to your brand as a freelance video editor.